if you look at how human psychology works, in order for someone to want to buy something, they have to be about 100% certain. In order to join a waiting list, you only have to be 5-10% certain that you want to do something. And people like to warm up to things a little bit slowly. So join the waiting list means that, hey, you only have to be slightly sure that you want to do this. Then the uncertainty of, do I get through or not? I've joined the waiting list. I've made a micro commitment. Now there's an uncertainty gap. And it's like, oh, I need the certainty. I need to know whether I'm off the waiting list or I'm through to the next phase. So now we enter a different, like, oh, will I or won't I get through? But it also gives the business a great opportunity to warm people up. So you talked about doing a tour of the club. Let me give you some other examples. Glastonbury Music Festival, they tell people that they can't book a ticket. They can only register for a ticket, that they're interested in a ticket. So a registration of interest, but not a ticket sale. So what they do is they get 700,000 people to register interest, and then they tell you slowly who are some of the bands, and they warm you up to will you get it or not, and they tell you 500,000 people are now registered, 600,000 are registered, 700,000 are registered, and they say, but there's only 140,000 tickets. So then they say, we're going to make the tickets available at 5 a.m. So only the true believers are going to be there, only the true music fans who are willing to get up early. And then there's this whole like suspense and excitement of like, will I get a ticket or not? People set their alarm in the morning. They know that 700,000 have registered, 140,000 will get through. So they just fight for those tickets. Rolex had a massive breakthrough in the way that they, in becoming a big brand, when they stopped selling Rolexes and they started selling the waiting list. So you can't buy a Rolex. The way it works with the Rolex is you go into a Rolex retail store and the only thing they will sell you is getting onto the waiting list. So they won't actually sell you a watch. So first you will have to get on the waiting list and register. And then about 6 months later, they'll say, good news, we have the watch that you want available, but it's only available for 3 days, right? Other than that, we can hold it for you for 3 days, but after that, we'll have to sell it to somebody else. And essentially everyone rushes down and gets the Rolex. So that cycle of join the waiting list and then make the sale is brilliant. And this translates perfectly for people at the early stage of the entrepreneurial journey, because it doesn't matter whether you want to do a rocket to Mars or whether you want to launch a cupcake business or you want to do a fashion brand or you want to do a service of bookkeeping and accounting. All of those you can launch a waiting list with minimal cost. You set it up very simply and basically. You use a template. Boom, you've got a waiting list. And you can also collect the data. So you can't just join the waiting list. Name, email, answer 5 questions to get on the waiting list. How much are you willing to pay? What are you trying to achieve? What's your biggest fear that could go wrong? What would you try if this didn't exist? So you ask a few of these questions and then people get on the waiting list. You've got all that data.